welcome to day 1 of week 4 of split 2 of the 2019 OPL. I am Nick Boy Richardson, and I am wearing exactly the same shirt as I was in one of those, potentially 2 of those videos that we just saw, and that's embarrassing.
It's a nice shirt.
The thing, I mean, I leave some clothes here because I'm like, I can't be bothered like going to meetings and stuff and then coming here and having to carry clothes around all day. I think I need to rotate those clothes.
I think you do as well, but we were talking about bananas and pajamas
We were.
as we were walking upstairs.
We were.
And this just gives me great childhood memories of bananas and pajamas.
Like I'm in pajamas?
Yeah.
I'll take it.
It actually does look a lot like pajamas now you mention it.
Spawn,
Hadn't
Rusty,
noticed.
welcome. Speaking of pajamas, we wanted the OPL Uggs.
Where are they?
We still want those.
Where
by
are
the
those,
way.
Matthew,
What?
the producer?
What time frame? I like that Matthew came in. So our producer came in and he's like, you can reference people behind the scenes. Just make sure you say their title. And you could just see the moment of realization and like, Nick's like, I've already got it wrong. Yeah, how long does it take to get 3 pairs of Ugg boots?
That's all.
Preferably 5 because I don't want to rotate.
I was going to say, are you guys rotating? And I mean, we don't see Pulse's feet, but I feel like in
He
our
has
hearts,
them.
we know he has them.
I just don't have anything below the torso.
Well,
But you'll never know.
That makes sense given your height.
Exactly. I mean, actually, I'm 8 foot in real life. I mean, you guys can attest to that, but no one will ever know because I'm never standing up.
No one will ever know. But what we do know is we're back for another week of League of Legends. I am very excited to be here.
Allegedly.
Allegedly, it's League of Legends.
Yes.
Allegedly excited.
Allegedly back.
Who knows?
Who knows?
Who knows? What is also back is the MPL. We're going to be playing. I think we're doing.
Well, we wanted to do a real League of Legends Summoners Rift game today.
did.
We've done enough ARAMs and TFTs, I think, for a little bit.
Because we felt like you were ready.
Oh,
Like, that's what
nice.
this is.
Yeah, right.
It's like, as the
moment.
people, like, because it's called Nick Plays League. But let's call it what it really is, Nick Learns League.
Yeah.
And we
Come
feel
up
like,
badly.
yeah, we feel like, as a collective, you're ready.
So this is my put me in coach.
Yeah.
You know who I am? I'm Rudy. No one gets that reference. God, I'm old. So we're going to be doing that. So please come along and hang out after the show for the next part of the show. So technically, it's still a part of the show. Speaking of shows, you should come to the Melbourne Esports Open because that's where we're going to have our final show of the year. It is the grand final for the Split 2 2019.
And Nick,
Yes.
you know whose team would be there if the OPL ended today?
Rusty's team would be. Yeah.
That'd be really exciting.
Wouldn't
I'd
that be
like to go
good?
to Melbourne for that reason.
Don't lie. You have a love of Melbourne.
I love Melbourne. I will admit, I think the coffee is better in Melbourne, and I think that the place itself is a better environment.
What about the tattoo artist? Tattoo artist pretty good in
The
Melbourne?
best.
Yeah, exactly.
You would know.
Is he paying you right now? Is that what's
Well,
going on?
we have the same tattoo artist.
I don't like this at all. Please come to the Melbourne Esports Open. It's going to be a hell of a weekend.
Also,
It's
if you want to
very
tattoo
exciting.
Jack Thomas, he's a great tattoo artist.
There you go. Apparently, you can get that while you're there as well. Oh, someone should get a tattoo of us.
I would get a
on
tattoo
them.
of us.
Really?
Maybe.
I
You guys
might do
heard that
as well.
said on air, right? That happened.
That could be cool.
Jenna, you watching?
Yeah.
You approve of this?
Matthew, the producer, you going to fund this? Let's talk about this after the show. Of course, we do have a show to get on with. Let's check out the games that we are going to be playing today. First up, Chiefs versus Avant.
Oh, banger.
Banger of a match. Rank 1 versus Rank 3. Very exciting about that. Direwolves versus Mammoth, game number 2. Bombers take on Legacy at game 3. And Gravitas and Order fighting it out in game 4.
Reverse banger. A banger for all the wrong reasons at the moment.
But those are the best bangers when you're not expecting anything to happen and then suddenly it does.
I mean, you never know with games like that, but I would say today, keep your eyes peeled for the first 2 games. Obviously, the first one's a big one. I mean, we'll get into that in a little bit, but the second game, Direwolves against Mammoth, is also something you should definitely look forward to.
I have a very important question.
Do you?
Is this button too high? I can't quite tell. Huh?
Can you do it up again? It makes no difference. The shirt stays.
Huh?
No, I
That's
don't
too
like
much.
the top
That's
one.
too
No.
much.
Massive mistake. We'll
Yeah.
just leave it like this and then we'll see how we feel
Is
throughout
it
the rest of
dark
the night.
blue? It's dark and blue on the inside.
Yeah, who knows?
Are you supposed to be able to see that? Because I feel like when they do stuff like that, you're supposed to be able to see it.
You'll never see this shirt again on the OPL. That's a Nick Boy guarantee. We've got a hell of a show for you as well. We've got a lot of fun segments coming up. But we should probably get into the first game. So it is Chiefs versus Avant. As you said, Avant, if the OPL ends today, which legally it cannot. But if it did, you guys would be heading to MEO. Can you keep up the pace?
I'd be happy for it to end today if that was the case. But I think the pace is an important thing. You know, all the teams improving around AV. It's important they continue to show progression themselves. And the Chiefs have proven to be the kryptonite a little bit of AV. They haven't been able to beat them in the first split.
Yeah, and I keep saying this about Avant, but they're one of the only top-side focused teams in the whole of the OPL, and it's something that historically has bucked the trend. Top-side focused teams just don't win. You go back as far as Legacy, 2015, 2016, when they played around Tally. And I think that Chiefs are much more, like, historically, just the bottom lane. You know, they had Radier into Raze, two of the best 80 carries ever in the OPL. They're going to go hard at Aladoric and Gunkrab today, and I'm really interested to see how the young bottom lane of Avant stands strong, because in my opinion, I mean, Bryce kind of said it, last week in a tweet, but he said, you know, Ray's definitely best 80 carry. I think Ray's and Ayla certainly best bottom lane at the moment.
Absolutely.
So this is kind of a clash in styles, and I love games like that.
They're bangers. That's all we can say about it. And before we go, Soxy, LMAO, LP, GL Phoenix, they're all saying happy birthday to Rusty. Rusty, happy birthday. It is your birthday
thank you.
today.
How old you turning?
It took me a while to work it out. 26.
26.
Yeah, very significant milestone.
Yeah, exactly right. 26-year-old looks like this. Great paying job and still single. So,
So there you go.
slide into his DMs, go for it.
Please. Speaking of sliding into DMs, he is the tallest member of the OPL team, and he's sitting next to Bryce.
All true statements. Thank you, Nick Boy. You know, you get a lot of crap for being the youngest member on the team, but until recently, you were the same age as Rusty. What's that?
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I just have a young heart. He's just an old soul. I
That's fair.
Yeah,
He is the old-fashioned embodied as a human, right?
yeah. What is it that thing that you see like on bumper stickers of really old cars? It's
Oh,
like,
you mean in the back?
yeah,
like
it's like
windscreen?
aging is compulsory, but growing up is optional. Like, you know what I mean? I'm just that's the way I
Just
live my
riding the
life.
line.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it.
Cool. How are you doing today?
Yeah,
Are you
pretty
doing?
good.
Yeah.
Pretty good. You know, had some food before we got on cars
Had
today.
some food.
Yeah. How'd your ramen go? I know you were.
Yeah,
pretty interested
you
in
were
that
the
one.
only one not there because
I was building
you didn't
furniture.
realize they was for Friday.
Yeah. I was. I
And
had
you're also
some
doing
to
live
do.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, we are talking about the boys in blue. Going to be facing off. Chiefs
Rare
versus
indeed.
AV. Yeah, game number 1 and a banger like the couch mentioned.
Yeah, I mean, Avant doing very well right now. Last week, even up to 5-1, even with Mammoth. So right at the top of the leaderboard. And yeah, we'll see if they can keep the run going today as they take on Chiefs.
Yeah, and I think that's crazy. If you come into this split and see their first 3 games, they don't have a bottom lane. How on earth, it's now week number 3, treading into week number 4 is this team at the top of the ladder, but have just looked out and out very, very good. The couch talked about the bottom lane as a big focus. Yes, Raze and Ayla looking very strong recently, but it was that Ziggs game last week that did take down Mammoth. I feel like that sort of comp from AV, very creative, very useful. Obviously got the victory, but Mirror in that game as well. The new import jungler for this lineup. Played a couple off-roll games, but his Olaf looked incredibly scary. So a bunch of stuff to look out for heading into this one, and the Olaf is already banned.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Rusty leaked the strategy before last week. I didn't hear anything from him today to go off. So, you know, we'll
You got a
be
keen
really
ear out, yeah.
yeah. Just
what
in
could
case.
we expect?
Yeah, we've got some bans coming through. Fiora, Olaf, Camille from the Chiefs, Ezreal, Lux, and Karma from Avant. First pick, Sejuani. First pick, Aatrox.
Yeah, I think the Aatrox is a little bit of a surprising one, just given that AV obviously expected the first pick Sage, and they have prepped this lock-in immediately. The Ezreal ban, specifically targeted, I think, at Raze, has kind of blind picked that one for weeks, and the Olaf ban, of course, is targeted at Miru, but the Aurelia is still up and available, as is the Renekton, and when you get a first pick Sejuani, neither of those bruisers taken away. They are some of the best at pairing in those solo lanes with that jungler there, so I wouldn't be surprised if both of them do get locked in here. They've already got half of the combo.
Yeah, melee picks picked, and there it is. There's the other half, Aurelia. As you said, super good in those solo lanes, really easy to lock down your opposing targets. We'll be playing into the Aatrox though, so there was some preempting there from Avant, also locking in the Xayah, kind of knowing that the Chiefs would probably go towards these bruiser picks, so they're not in any danger of taking away the Rakan in the first place, and they'll lock in that as well for the end of first
And I
rotation.
think that is the preparation here, right? Coming through, they pick a very aggressive bottom lane for Gunkrab and Aladoric, and now you expect, given that it has been Karma, kind of OP flex ban, but Lux and Ezreal definitely targeted at the bot side. And these bans will go down there as well, whether they take off another support, maybe the likes of Yuumi or something. But the Kai'Sa has already hit the bench, so AV have a lot of options to take away here from Chiefs, and for a team that has had so much success down in the bottom side, not going to have a lot to choose from.
Yeah, not right now. Kai'Sa will be banned away here by Avant, of course, as you said, looking towards the bottom side of the map here towards Chiefs. Zillion definitely makes some sense. Saw that last week to great effect, actually. So, yeah, take that one off the table. Shock has definitely shown himself to be a good Zilean player.
Yep, called TikTok Shock for years, and there's definitely a reason. Zilean also just kind of one of those obnoxious champions to play against. Does put you on the clock, of course, in terms of scaling somewhat, just because they get a 6 versus 5 with a full AP revive on the ulti there, but when you have single engage tools, I feel like, and not super reliable in this meta. Like, the best you're looking at is like a Sejuani ult, a Nautilus hook, stuff like that. Rakan is pretty good, but you don't have the likes of the Zac, the Alistar, all of these big AoE things. So when you do really want to start off a team fight by locking down and insta-giving one person for a reset, Zilean can be super problematic, so it makes a lot of sense here to ban away from the Chiefs.
Yeah, you called that Yuumi ban as well. That will be taken away, and the Trundle. Now, Avant have just picked up the Vladimir. So a few bans last week, no actual plays last week, but we'll take that into the solo lane.
Yeah, it is going to mean that the Nico has made it all the way through. You saw a cheeky hover. Of course, Chiefs are not going to take that one down, I expect, even they have to lock in a bottom lane. But, okay.
Yeah.
That's a bottom lane.
This is when you start off TFT and you're like, I can't find any synergies
What
whatsoever.
comp am I playing?
I'll pick up everything and then see what else drops. Yeah, Talia and Pyke picked up here for the Chiefs. We'll talk about what in a second, because we've got Avant looking towards their final solo lane. Now, there's basically all bruisers, all people who can go into the top lane, mid lane. This is like quad, not like pentaflex.
This is not like, we don't know where these guys are going as of yet. Super standard would probably be Renekton top, Aurelia mid, and kind of just in their lock-ins right now. And if they stay that way, I wouldn't be surprised. But of course, I mean, they don't have another jungler, but Aurelia Sejuani was played in the bottom lane a while ago when like the passive and people were starting to click on to this sort of combination where the bruisers can proc that one. Of course, they don't have another champion. Oh, necessarily. I guess Talia can go in there to fulfill that. But yeah, this is super weird. And you kind of saw Shock's face immediately as AV were picking the mid laner. Completely deadpan, just like, okay, like, what are we looking at? Like, the numbers are being crunched in his head live. We're watching it. Just like, okay, like, what do I go towards? Ends up going towards a big, long-range scaling AD carry in the Azir. So something safe and something to scale up with the rest of his team comp.
Yeah, that will be the final pickup. And yeah, it should be Talia, Pyke, and the bottom side from Chiefs. Now, to me, this is, I'm going to push you to tower, right? Like, we're going to shove in, Pyke's going to line up some bone skewers, and this is going to be our lane into what is not a bad lane 2 versus 2 with the Livers duo.
Yeah, absolutely not, right? Talia does give a lot of wave clear. Not the most, given the changes that kind of put her into the jungle a very long time ago. But that is the one thing Pyke struggles with in the bottom side. Unless you're landing like Hail Mary hooks, which at the competitive level probably shouldn't be happening. He's a champion that sucks at laning and wants to leave lane, but if you suck at laning, how do you get to leave? You're just underneath your turret, sitting there with few opportunities. So obviously, pairing that one with the Talia accounts for that weakness, and they maybe want to get Ayla opening up on the map much earlier this game.
All right, 4 compositions here, and for our coach today, we have Cyclone. How are you?
Yeah, good, thanks.
Now, let's start talking about these compositions. What do you think about this bottom lane? Because I feel like that's the biggest standout here for us here.
Yeah, well, we knew that they'd probably want to go for some magic damage, given their top side.
Yeah, Relia Renekton.
Yeah, so that's why we, part of why we took the Vlad away. And I guess the question for them is going to be, can they hit some skill shots?
Yes, that's a difficult one to navigate, I suspect. And not necessarily about this game. I want to talk to you about big picture. You guys sitting, actually, hold that.
Yeah, flash onto Raze right now. Flash away, but with the Ignite and the auto attack, this is going to straight up be first blood.
Yeah, the boys. Over the wall goes Aladoric and cleans that one up. Double flashes burnt. But I was going to ask you, like, you guys sitting top of the table now. Obviously, you're new to this AV lineup this split, but how's everyone feeling back in the camp?
Yeah, it's good. I mean, I think they're trying to just kind of stay focused and kind of keep thinking about what's the next step, It's a long split. We're only a third of the way through it, so can't get ahead of ourselves.
Is it kind of weird how you're just chasing first place like the entire time you're playing any competition, and then you get to first place and everyone's like, no, don't worry, like, it's fine, calm it down?
Yeah, well, I think it's definitely an interesting dynamic. You have to be aware that there's going to be a target on your back, and people are going to look at, people are going to pay attention to what you're doing, whether it's right or wrong, and they're going to go, maybe it's good.
Yeah.
And so you can kind of mislead people with that, but also you're going to get a lot more criticism. You just got to be prepared to have a bit of a more spotlight on you.
Would you prefer to be first this early on, or would you actually prefer to be behind so you actually don't have the expectation? You can just work on like, okay, we lost here. This is like, you can be more pinpoint about your working on?
I think it depends a lot on what your expectations of yourself are before you get to first place. So like I know, for example, like Shock, like his standard for his play is so high. Like he compares himself to Rookie and Faker and all those guys. So for him, like there's not even a conversation. It's just like this is what happens when you train and get good.
Wow, very interesting. Thank you so much for joining us, and best luck on the game.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, interesting stuff. Johnny always talks a lot about like the mindset behind the game, right? It's the answer to like, oh, like how is it expectation-wise coming into this? He's like, okay, it's about setting it up before it actually happens. A lot in the preparation and what goes on behind the scenes. Of course, during the interview, very nicely done level 1 there from AV. Prepared that one, knowing that somebody will sit around the tri-bush very early. Zyra Khan. Double W does a whole bunch of damage, and you saw the very early commit from Gunkrab with the flash to secure that one. Raze tried to live with the flash of his own, but unfortunately unable to, and as you expect, given that, the hard push in, XP lead, and very slight item advantage, given that Aladoric picked up the first blood, got himself the tier 2 support item.
Ooh, Miru. Looking to salt the wound here a little.
No flash
behind
on
the tower, gets a knock-up. Follow through with the daggers. Raze underneath the tower. Gunkrab, can he get underneath this one? Miru hits him with the Q. Follow up as well with the W.
Ooh.
But gonna dodge out of that one in the end. They're still looking for this one, though.
The redive. Round number 2 may be on. They botched the initial play. Gunkrab retained the aggro and had to leave, and he is their one big damage source. That rip back did land.
Not gonna be anything in the end of that play. Yeah, Miru, I think, was moving through the tower because he didn't want to go through the jungle, didn't know where Sejuani was.
Yeah.
But I thought they were going to go for round 2.
Yeah, and I think they were definitely thinking about it. They did drop aggro at a certain point. That's another nice hook. Ayla just being cheeky. But yeah, like Xayah got the aggro, had to leave, and they don't have the damage to hardcore commit for the kill, which is a little bit disastrous. And level 3 dives are always dicey, right? There's so little HP bar to play with. This may be round number 3, though. The root did land.
This is some classic, like, solo queue Jarvan level 2 red buff cheese is what I'm watching right now, you know? And it's gank you 5 times until they get that one kill. But Miru looking for it.
I mean, yeah, you can also kind of hear the slightest noise of somebody typing in chat as well. So, yeah, like you talk about the solo queue analogy, Raze and Ayla are just sitting there like, what the hell is my jungler doing?
And they're still going for it, but they actually lose the AD carry. Raze kind of up the river. Ayla now 1 versus 2, goes into stealth, but still caught in the Infernal Chains. That will be a kill to Aladoric, 1-for-1 trade, but so many resources invested into that play.
Yeah, super early. And of course, the response on the other side was only threatening chippies. He hasn't based and he didn't have to TP back to the lane, but he did lose a pretty fat wave underneath his turret. The dive threat on a full HP Vladimir with pull isn't the greatest though, so no shenanigans opted into. The hard punish is not quite there, and it's very good for Chiefs to be able to find the 1-for-1. Being able to trade anything in a situation where your enemy is making a super proactive play and you're already looking for a response on the other side of the map is definitely a prize. So given what we saw level 1, they get the kill and then look to punish them immediately. This lead in the bot lane isn't the hugest right now.
Nice punish there by Claire. Didn't have much mana, so wasn't really able to follow through with anything else. Just tower range. And yeah, only being very proactive on the map. Kind of annoying he was on blue side into Vladimir here, so he can't go red into like getting that level 2 because he's going to have pull, right? So we'll go back to base and picks up the Balmy Cinder.
Yeah. Is ahead a little bit in terms of the farm lead right now. Goes back, picks up his second jungle's item, and as you mentioned, got the Bammies, but slightly ahead given how much time Miru spent sitting in a tri-bush. That is a straight-up solo kill.
All right. I mean, Renekton does have a good matchup into Vladimir, especially like pre-6 and at certain like spikes in the lane. Yeah. But I mean, to get a straight-up solo kill right there, that was after first back as well. He didn't use teleport, so I think that was pre-first back, right?
Pre-first back. Swiper obviously walked back to lane. Because only gave him so much priority. Like, they look for the dive, they force him back, and then Swiper's wave is already crashed, and he's like, okay, like, I don't really have much to do. I can cheat a base here. Claire, getting frisky, actually wants it.
Actually, he chooses to go in. Yeah, he's got only off to the sidelines. Great Vanguard's Edge flash out of the way. Dodges the flail. Nice play right there by the fadeaway ultimate. Only on fire.
Yeah, only hits him with a fling and secures that one. Miru very nicely actually cancelled a second dash there from the Aurelia player, but unfortunately it wasn't enough to buy his life. Flashes away and gets cleaned up off the back end. So in both solo lanes so far, of course, was the jungler that died, but we're going to take another look at what happens. Swiper, I'm curious to see if he does dig that level 6 mark, but yeah, Paul comes out early, stun, press the attack proc so he gets that bonus damage. And
Bottom lane, the action just doesn't stop in this game. They
Yeah.
will be disengaging from this one, the bottom lane of AV, but only on a bit of a rampage. He's gone from top to middle to bottom in the space of 7 minutes.
on Sejuani.
On
right?
Sejuani.
The last person to do that in the OPL, and I will say much more effectively, was Sybil in the first couple of weeks. It was a Sejuani red to mid to top gank. She's not kind of the most early pressure out of all the junglers you can lock in, but now hitting that level 6 mark, they did actually just get the flash out from the Xayah, so given how this lane started in the bottom side, it is all these summoners being kind of off kilter and out of balance with one another. Now Chiefs have access to most of their tools, at least in the AD carry department, so a hook into a flick will probably have to mean Featherstorm once Gunkrab hits that level 6 mark, or could be his demise there. Claire?
Yeah, Alador looking for the roam right here. Ooh, great dodge onto the
Yeah.
final minion. Claire,
Oh.
perfect duet coming through. We'll just walk it off.
Yeah, cops a bit of damage off the back end, but of course once you go through the wall, able to dash back out, and Aladoric kind of baits himself there, I think, with a W. Could have held that for just a little bit longer and maybe got a little bit more of a chunk, but only still once more. He's found Miro in the jungle.
This is a carnivorous Sejuani right now. Has the bottom lane coming up. Stun lock for days onto Miro. No chance of getting out of that one.
Yeah, and take it back to draft, right? It was the first pick Aatrox, and we're like, that's interesting. They held the flex the entire time. You saw Cyclone in the interview is like, yeah, we took the Vladimir because they're lacking magic damage, but now this Aatrox in the jungle, starting 0 and 2, spent so much time attacking this bottom lane, and as you just saw, as I'm making the point, Raze is sitting there farming the wave 2 versus 1.
Yeah.
No level 6 hit for Rakan, so no guaranteed lockdown, and Ayla finds an opportunity, finds himself an Aatrox, he falls down, and this gold lead is heavily swung back in Chief's favor.
This is one of those games where I'd love to go back and actually take a look at Oni's pathing, because he came out of the jungle level 5, ganks mid lane after top lane, then hit 6, I think, during the wave. I think he may have taxed some experience, so he got the 6 to kill Miro, and then is still outpacing him, level 7 to level 6 right now. Pretty big margin in terms of experience, not in terms of camps, but the way he's gotten ultimate so early. What a combo coming into the bottom lane. Gunkrab throws out the ultimate, only responds, but Gunkrab shouldn't be able to get out of this one alive. We'll be down to just 2 picks up. It will be Raze.
Desperately trying to use the cleanse to get out of that one, but that was just very nicely played. You think about it, it's like, okay, maybe high hook into the flick. Chippies just clearing out the wave here. Actually, maybe looking for a little bit more. Has the charge. Swiper.
Ooh, good response from Swiper.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was an interesting trade right there, because initially Swiper went in, Chippies was in kill range, pops the ultimate for the wave to get out of kill range, then reverse it, Uno reversal card, goes on to Swiper, he pops his flash and his ultimate to reverse it again, equaling in a null trade.
Yeah, it's actually a lot of micro stuff happening across the map, right? Like that top lane fight, yes, you mentioned Chippy's actually got the flash from Swiper with the pull, very nicely timed, and so has that advantage given he was being shoved in. But the bottom side, like, I think about it, it's like hook into flick, but they just started the other way. And exactly what we were saying, Featherstorm had to come out, but just a little bit too late there from Gunkrab, and this is going to be the map flip. Bottom lane already up here. Of course, Chippy's no ability to lock anyone down. Aladoric does have flash, though.
Yeah, it will be down to pretty much Aladoric on this play.
Baiting him
in. Yeah, Swiper goes right in, hook, line, and sinker. Swiper will go down to Chippies.
Yeah, and you can see Chiefs immediately responding. Raze and Ayla walking out of base, see the bottom lane of AV topside and start trekking up in that direction. Swiper already dead, and with no TP does mean a numbers mismatch here on the top side, though, and Rift Herald is going to be started. Aladoric.
Collapse coming in from Chiefs. In fact, the whole gang's here. Aladoric going back towards Gunkrab. He pops the stopwatch. In comes Chippies and Shock over the wall, away from the play. But here he comes. They blow up the AD carry. Chiefs on a bit of a rampage here. Jump over the wall. Raze finds the second. Chippies backing away. Infernal Chains finds one. Shock juking into the pit. Herald getting involved in the action, only low. Miru trading blows. It's a very messy fight here, Ejim. Chippies still taking so much damage from the Herald. He loses his jungler, and now he's in his own channel. Double kill comes out from Raze. Disaster from Avant.
Yeah, and Chiefs with a 4 versus 5 team fight victory around the Rift Herald. We've seen it so many times before. Last week, the week before, you start this Herald up, it takes so goddamn long, and you think about the tools AV already used in the top lane, they had nothing left. Raze now sitting 4-1 on the Talia after being, like, killed literally level 1. We'll take another look, right? Aladoric desperately trying to live. No ulti available. Chippies walks down, no ulti, half a HP bar, and Gunkrab has no flash as well, so yes, Miro and Shock are coming from the backline, but for this entire time, it has just been a 4 versus 2 Chiefs running rampant. And you get to this point, Shock has a dash, yes. Chippies is sitting in the pit. no ability to go anywhere. Miru's trying his best, but the little Aatrox can't do anything between 3 members. Chiefs have just completely turned this game on its head.
I mean, for the vast majority of that fight, you had Miru and Chippies just being Herald zoned, and then
Yeah.
that was their escape route. Didn't choose to go downriver, actually went back into the pit. So, yeah, it felt like split calls, dodgy
Yes.
setup. And yeah, I mean, that will be Herald over the Chiefs with a nice couple kills to go alongside it. Mid-tower push, 3 members here, 4 members here with Herald. This is a big play here from
Yeah.
Chiefs.
Actually going to keep committing to the turret. They have demolished procs available, and of course the resists are gone given they have minions around. I thought maybe they're just looking for the stacks, right? They get the plating, they get the gold, give that one to Swiper. But everybody lands at the plate. Chiefs kind of rotating towards this middle lane. And yeah, taking down an Azir's turret, very useful, and you kind of see that criticism more often than not when you have these super strong defensive control mages in the game and teams throw Rift Herald at the side lanes.
Yeah.
Even in this situation, when you throw it top, you could potentially just break that turret, but the difficulty that arises with breaking Azir specifically means Chiefs happy to burn it early. Only.
It's found only, but I think it's more the other way around. Alador comes into the play 2 versus 2. Great ultimate, charms both of them, but here comes the rest of Chiefs. Gunkrab over the wall. We're getting chased out, and it will just be a no contest in the end.
Nobody really willing to commit to that fight there, Chiefs, knowing full well that Gunkrab was rotating over and at the fast track from mid, so didn't want to keep chasing that one. CC dissuaded them somewhat, but the HP bars of AV were getting strikingly low, and that means this top turret is now under fire. Gold lead is just ballooning, right? This is almost 5,000, will be after the plates. 1,000 in the top side, significant in the jungle. An 80 carry, that's approaching 2,000 there from Talia. That is, that's a scary prospect.
It felt like AV got drawn into a roaming game they didn't want to be a part of, right?
Yeah.
Like, you get first blood into the bottom side, like, perfect, we can just suppress this roaming lane, right? They'll never get out of laning phase. We put Miru 2.5, maybe 3 ganks, I think, like in the bottom side, and it's just like, that didn't pan out, and it was the perfect run from only, what, 6 assists right now total, including the 3 kills. And it feels like this bottom lane that should never have gone out of lane after that first blood did.
The response just always landed, right? The dive didn't go their way. It took too long and they didn't get the kills they needed. And there you said it. Sejuani comes down. First time's a charm, lands a flick, throws an ulti, picks up an Aatrox, picks up a Xayah, and all of a sudden this game is just completely lopsided than you would expect. Next dragon is spawning in about 10 seconds. You can see Chiefs posturing down there with their jungler. Raze may be caught though.
Trying to get him in rotation. Infernal Chains walked out of. Here comes Ayla as well from the bottom side. And it's going to be a nice double flick coming through from Raze. And that's just an easy cleanup. And that was a 3rd kill as well, somewhere it looked like. So 3 kills the Chiefs.
Yeah, that is... Yeah, you mentioned it. Shocker's just died in the mid lane.
Yeah.
Sejuani ulti hasn't even been used, so Claire must have been able to find that one. Maybe we'll get a replay,
If a
see
Shock
what
dies
happened.
in the woods.
This is going to be a TP into the bottom side as well. Chiefs are just all over this map. Triple or double TP. The 80 carry of Raze is behind him. Chippy spots him.
Yeah, I will say Vladimir a little scary 1v1. That being said, 3-on-1, I think it's more doable. Only comes in. Razor just keeping him away. This is just sad for the Vladimir. He's like, there's nowhere to go. I can't go up. I can't go into the turret. I can't go right.
And Chiefs just play the waiting game. Raze is there, yes. He shows himself to Chippies, and he's like, I don't want any piece of that one until my teammates get there. They don't even use any cooldowns. They just wait for Sejuani to right-click for the passive, hit him with a chain CC, and Vladimir falls down. This gold lead, I was just saying, is ballooned to 5,000. Another couple of TPs, another couple of kills, and this is just enormous at 15 minutes. Double dragons as well.
All right, this is mid lane.
Sun lands.
Full combo.
Yep. Shock just gets eaten alive, and Ignite ticks down.
Yeah.
Only didn't even do anything.
Level 11 spike with Tiamat Sheen. We'll do it.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, this is just like, we hit a peak with Chiefs, and now we're just going right down the roller coaster. We're just accelerating so quickly. Like, approaching a 10,000 gold horizon at pre-20 minutes here for Chiefs. I mean, with a composition that does very well with extra gold influxes early game, like a Renekton mid-game hitting 2.5, like, 1.5, 2 items is going to be catastrophic.
Yeah, and that's now like the Triforce team I completed, you mentioned, the Luden's there. Ayla's almost got himself the lethality item completed and has been working on that one for a while, but you kind of mentioned it, the fact that this happened so quickly and it has gone like off the cliff. The lead was happening. Chiefs turned around the early game, And you take a look at AV's comp, and it's like, we have a Vladimir, we have a Nazir, we have a Xayah. All of these guys are super good late game, and we have the tools to kind of wait it out and still be useful. Yes, they will be able to dictate the game on the Chiefs side, but they have all these tools available to them, but they just sped it up. They were looking for the plays, and it was constantly the reactions from Chiefs being able to punish, so really do have to kind of look at that and be like, they've spelled their own demise. They've made this lead increasingly more difficult as this game has gone on, and it's approaching insurmountable territory all before Baron has even spawned. We're still 3 minutes away, and inner turrets being whacked.
Almost an insta-give there onto Miro. A couple ultimates thrown out there. Actually, just the Sejuani, but only the fact that he can just face check into brushes right now with zero fear, right? Like, there is no combination of 2 or 3 people who are going to be able to nuke the Sejuani 304 with 2 completed items.
Yeah, no way. And also, like, when you think about junglers, and every jungler you hear talk about the game, whether it's like ex-junglers now casting or just pro players in their opinions, like, once you fall behind, supports and junglers get starved. This isn't the old Aatrox that will just revive no matter what. He needs something to happen to be able to get back online, and he has a whole-ass item behind a Sejuani. He has a Ninja Tabbies and a Warriors, and he's working on that second item, but Kindle Gem is unfortunately not going to do it. So AV, for a very long time, are going to be playing this game without a front line. You think about Azir comps, front to back, get Vladimir a flank, but it's going to be very hard to engineer, and Chiefs crack open the mid turret, burn a bunch of cooldowns, Swiper still split pushing in the side lane. They're just taking everything.
Only kind of trapped here. Yeah, we'll have to burn the flash. I believe he face planted the wall there.
Yeah.
So we'll have to flash it. Yeah, but I mean, in the end, like, you can see what the AV comp does, right? Front to back, you've got Xayah, perfect engage. It's kind of like your front line is just a hard engage, right? It's a big sucker punch with Vlad, with Rakan coming in there, and then you've got Aatrox doing his thing. It just kind of felt like a bad bet coming out from draft. Like, you had first pick Sejuani, you know what the following picks are going to be without your banter being through, and you insta-lock Aatrox, right? This was a plan, and it just didn't work out.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, it's not to be critiqued on its own. This is just not the situation they wanted to be in. We're now approaching 20 minutes, 1 minute away from the Baron spawn. And the most problematic thing for teams that get ahead is the defensive items that come out. Raze deals significant damage and has a Zhonya, right? He can happily build a Medjai's if he wants to be kind of risky and start building on that one. The Aurelia also picks up that stopwatch. So in terms of targets to pick on, Pyke increasingly mobile, Swiper and Sejuani in the hands of Only are definitely not the ones you want to be starting this fight off with. So definitely building this defensive kind of control they have right now, clearing out the jungle support duo of Chiefs walking through together. All of this vision just being taken out very easily and setting up theirs of their own. So AV are going to find it very hard to face check around this Baron pit soon.
Yeah, I mean, the next trial for a team that's behind is always going to be Baron, right? Like, how do they contest it, or how do they collapse on a side lane? Claire being locked down, good Vanguard's edge as the rest of the team comes in from the bottom side. Claire, it's still alive in this one, throwing out the Blade Storm right there. Raze jumps the wall, looking for his first. Mira goes down, the AD carry is dead. And AV running with the tails between the legs. Ayla finds one, fights the second!
And somehow he cleans up the back end of the fight. Who cares if he dies to minion block? Chiefs are just so mobile. They pick on Claire. Stopwatch buys him some time, but everybody comes flying out of the woodwork. 20 minutes, Baron spawn, that's 4 kills, and Chiefs are running away with it.
That was so sick coming out of Ayla on the backside of that fight. So great to see the Pyke cleanups. Ends up dying for it, but no one's going to see that in the history books.
And just look how long he lives for. Aladoric gets flashed away from the knock-up, so Claire hasn't even burnt his stopwatch as of yet. The big wall comes through with the Talia, cuts off multiple people, and Raze flashes forward, so he kind of splits the fight. Shock and Aladoric are just running away. The front line gets cleaned up, and Ayla uses flash, got himself the double dash. This is a sad prospect.
Yeah,
I feel like if he could have walked, he maybe could have lived, right? Yeah. Like, he hit the W proc. Ooh,
Swiper, yeah. 1v2. While the rest of them's here. Chippy into Sanguine. Oh, the Bone Skewer. Ayla's feeling this game. Goes into the Zhonyas. The rest of the team's here from AV. We'll see if they can return anything, because now is a front-to-back fight with Raze firmly out of the fight. Shock throws out the Empress Divide, looking for the double knock-up. There's the shutdown, 3 kills, looking towards Raze. There's the 4th, no, goes into Zhonya's. Claire, it's all on him now, 1 versus 4. Doesn't have the Vanguard's edge, throws it out, not enough. That's a 5-for-1.
Yes,
Legion.
that's a turnaround ace. AV walk out of the base. Chiefs, yes, pick up Baron, but immediately lose it on all 5 members. And what just happened? This game was just exploding in front of AV, but a team fight out of nowhere. Raze went back, bought a Medjai's, and then immediately lost all his stacks.
All right, we can see that one again. Swiper goes for the initiate. It looks good. The rest of the Chiefs waiting on 2 members, but the same thing for AV.
Yeah, and I think Raze actually got greedy here. I believe his Zhonya's is available, but he sits in the pit tanking up the dragon, dealing absolutely no damage. And now Chiefs have used all of their buttons. Shock isn't really under fire. Fighting in this choke is so good for that exact reason. Emperor's Divide gives him that extra wall to just sit behind. Aladoric knocks up multiple members, and as soon as Chiefs kind of lost their front line, Raze, as I said, was sitting in the pit tanking a dragon, doing nothing. Claire unable to clean up 1 versus 4 in the end, and AV, that's a big injection of gold they absolutely needed.
Yeah, I mean, that was, the league equivalent of a silver platter, right? Like, that was a perfect conditions fight where you can play front to back of your composition, where you just hit 1, maybe 2 items. I believe Shocker just hit his. So those were like soft power, or hard power spikes, but like soft in terms of this game state, right? But now that's 8,000 gold, right? We've like rewound the clock by maybe 5 minutes now. And Chiefs, that was every member taking their Baron away. That being said, can't get cocky.
Aladoric.
Yeah. Going to get bumped over that wall, but Chiefs still looking for it.
Yeah.
That being said, Chiefs well and truly still ahead, but there's now a chance for Avant.
AV basically removed a catastrophe, right? Like that was absolute worst case game state. We got wiped. We lost Baron at 20 minutes in a comp, or versus a comp rather, that struggles to close games out without Baron. They need the Bruisers to be able to push in and make progress in the side lanes. They don't have a big Zac, a big Ali, a dive tool, or something like that, and they can't just kind of chip away at turrets. They need things to happen and happen quickly. So Chiefs had everything they wanted and kind of lost it immediately. 2.5 minutes on the next Baron, so not long away, but Chiefs are still looking to pressure. Ayla flanking behind this turret.
It's a little bit scary, but not so much for a Rakan and a Vladimir. Yeah, pretty much just taking all the standing gold that they can right now, Chiefs, before maybe the next objective where they can draw AV out into an open field, but they can also find themselves a trap, anyone in rotation.
And that's it, right? As observers toggle the vision, there's just nothing. It's just darkness outside of the base. For the red team, they have that singular ward in mid lane that I do believe just got cleared out by the Duskblade of Ayla, so it's kind of a cheeky little added bonus, not something you really think about, but the ability to build Duskblade on support, walk around, start one-tapping things. Sports don't have the greatest attack speed, so sweeping, you can kind of get 2 wards at best.
Yep.
But if you just one-hit everything, it feels super nice, and you don't even have to proc the sweeper. It's never the situation on Pike that you have to go fishing for wards. Either you know it's there guaranteed because it procs for you, and then you just retain your sweeper that entire time. So cheeky little advantage. Chiefs still looking to pressure the inners now.
That was very heartfelt from a support player right there.
It's
very detailed on all the stripes of the support player.
Yeah, it's so sad walking around and like nobody's following you. You're trying to link up with your jungler, but he'd much rather do golems than clear out Baron wards or something. And it's like, I know they're all here, but I don't have enough abilities. I don't have enough attacks to take them down. So Ayla kind of gets the best of both worlds there and clears out everything. Gold lead almost up at the 10k mark once again, but 1 minute away from the Baron. AV able to turn it around after the last one, but and think about the conversation we had, right? Yeah. Junglers get starved. This is it. 3,000 gold lead on a Sejuani. It's not a Kayn steaming ahead because he got snowballed. It's not a Kindred doing exactly the same thing. It's the biggest tank in the current meta.
Only full item ahead.
Yes, and he's just monstrous. This Sejuani is just never going to die.
Warmogs now as well. Okay, Aladoric at the front. There is a world where this works out for AV. You know? The carries have the items now. Big flank from Vladimir. Big knockup coming in from Aladoric. You can see it in your mind's eye, you know, and I'm sure AV can as well. But Chiefs are just so damn fed across the board. Almost an item or maybe half an item ahead on every single champion.
They don't have the quickest Baron. Certainly not bad with Sejuani passive just being procced all the time. Talia does respectable damage in that department as well, but it's not like a triple AD carry comp. I say that though, they've got double mountain, so it's It's probably actually going to be fairly quick, and AV don't have a lot of tools to check. They have no Lux ulti, no Ezreal ulti. All they've got is actually double blue orbs on the mid and AD carry. Chiefs contesting the last bit of vision. Sejuani with the Warmogs just shrugs off that damage, so they clear out that last remaining pink ward, and AV, they're just stacking bushes.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's such a low-risk play having a Sejuani this fed. You know, just shove the Sejuani into a bush. If she doesn't die, she's full health again. So AV really just have to look for an unconventional catch. You know, a squishy target, someone just off on their own farming a wave, that type of thing. But when it comes to vision contest, vision control, basically what you see on your screen right now is what's going to happen over and over again.
Yeah, face check with the Sedge. Get the one ranged member in raise to whack the ward, and it does fall down. Re-pink on this bush, and you kind of have to start looking at AV's resets. This is the most difficult part of the game for the support, mostly, to just constantly stay active in wards, right? Aladoric comes out of base, places as much vision as he can, and he's desperately scrambling to get a reset and get back on the map before this happens. Chiefs now starting up the Baron, 11,000, but they do peel off. Ayla, swing and a miss.
Yeah, we had Tilia just kind of pushing mid lane. We've got side lane, of course, going to be Swiper and Chippy's just 1v1ing it, but this isn't really a competition, unfortunately, where you can, like, just two-man, right? Like,
yeah.
Unkillable Sejuani plus, like, a high... There isn't really, like, a crit AD carry or something that you can just take down a Baron with, so it's hard to sneak, which is kind of what's stalling this game out right now for AV.
They certainly could, right? Like Aurelia or Renekton, probably Aurelia, given that he doesn't have TP. Like, they could two-man this, but it wouldn't be the quickest, as you mentioned. And then they do kind of get split off. Chiefs really want the Sejuani ulti into the Aurelia stun, into like a Pike reset, and then steamroll the fight. They want to just be layering those abilities on top of each other. Round number 2 of this one gets to 11,000, but they're going to continue.
Yeah, there's going to be more wards over the wall. Ayla again coming up to contest. That being said, Irelia and Sejuani great to be duoing this, because they will be able to join the fight very easily with that Blade Surge. And the Arctic Assault. Chiefs doing what they can to zone away, but AV are very aware that this is happening.
Yeah, Ayla actually splitting the AV team behind them between their base. Very interesting play. They had a mid-wave crashing, but the rotation from Chippy's kind of denied the ability for the Chiefs to walk it mid-inhib and just take it down, given AV's positioning. Round number 3 on the Baron. Chiefs committing further and deeper into the jungle right now, so they push AV significantly far back. Gunkrab and Shock are actually in the base. This is just going to die.
Yeah, this is actually just straight up gone. Redemption came down to scout, and I'm at a bit of a loss here, Ejin, because I saw a really nice contest that was coming out of AV, which is like you had Chippies in the bot side, he rotated to mid for a little bit of pressure, you didn't have to play the TP timer, and it was just looking over the wall, prodding and poking, and Chiefs were being stalled out. That was a solid 3 to 4 minutes where it was more scaling time for the carriers of AV, but then just kind of let it go.
Yeah, it was the timers ticking, right? And the timer in the intangibles of the wards that you don't really see. Aladoric, like, he was looking for a reset, he didn't actually go through with it, but Gunkrab's like, I have a Zeal, I can get something. Shock actually gets a significant buy in the Void Staff, right? So they have things they're wanting to potentially win this fight with, and Chiefs just pick their moment. They can, with a Warmog's jungler like Sejuani, he takes 0 damage, and if he does, he just heals it back up. So they can just start that on repeat, and eventually that situation does arise, where AV, they just have to go for resets, and if Chiefs, like, knowingly or unknowingly, they will just start it up anyway, and at one point it will work. AV, yes, they stalled out, they gave them enough time, but Chiefs now second Baron of the game. Lost the first one almost immediately, adding another dragon to the mix, and now looking to finally crack open the base.
We'll see if they can do it, because Shock has gotten quite big. He's now on 3 items.
Yes. Chippies, 3 items too, got a Void. Scary.
Yeah, 3.5.
Oh! Oh! That lands. Okay.
Kind of just, yeah, how many woos can we get there? if we had 2 more, I reckon he was dead.
Yeah, we got the gang vocal popping off.
Yeah. Tower very close to dying. Will fall. This is a slow burn from... Okay, never mind. Swiper's just in mid lane demolishing this turret. So now onto the inhibitors. Chippy's just kind of moving from top to middle, shearing away this Renekton. And
playing 2 waves is super important for the Chiefs, right? Azir, you see, can actually just one-hit a wave, and it's very hard to hit the inhib over. That's an engage, though, cleanse. Yeah,
burns the cleanse, very big. That Bone Skewer was an inch away from Shock's face. If that had landed, he was dead to rights, but still. That's middle inhibitor down, top still to fall.
And that's what I was saying. Azir can defend this top inhib, but he can only be in one lane at a time, right? Swiper getting the mid inhib as opposed to the bottom one, actually super valuable because his next lot of pushing now goes down towards the bottom side is going to be even more effective. It's a longer distance for a measly slow bird that can't even fly in the Azir to walk around his base. So now Chiefs playing all 3 lanes. The full court press is definitely in effect, and time running out here. AV desperately trying to force these waves back, but crashing all over the place.
That's Swiper in this 1v1, feeling pretty comfortable. He's basically itemized to play into this Vladimir. And 4v4, the rest of the team, while it may be slow, eventually will take it down unless there's an engage coming out from AV, but nice response out from Raze right there. Gunkrab has the early ultimate. Vanguard's Edge wants to flash in range, yeah. Response flash from Gunkrab has to happen. Chippies jumps forward, sees if he can get the damage. Will take down the Irelia, but look at the damage coming out of Swiper. Shock having to back away, the carry's down, and the rest of AV running for the hills. Chippies locked in place, there's the flick, doesn't find the timing, Sanguine Pool. Followed through out from Swiper, finds the first, finds the second, cleans up Gunkrab. And just like that, the dominoes fall, and Chiefs looking for the win.
Yeah, one by one, AV stepped up to the plate, but a hook here, a hook there, and Chiefs are just going to run away with the game.
Yeah, Chiefs, it took a while, it was precarious, but AV were unable to hold every single window down. Chiefs in the end will take the game. 32 minutes on the clock.
And in super dominant fashion, right? You think about the level 1 AV very smartly read. They do their preparation, they come into this game with a plan, and they made it work for the time being. Raze dies, but then only on the Sejuani was just all over the map. They would have ganked basically every single lane, and once they had the gold lead, really didn't relent. It took them 2 Barons. There was one shaky moment where you're like, okay, we got aced at Baron, but aced at Dragon rather. But after that point, they just slowly closed that one out.
Yeah, I think there was a few precarious moments, right? Because I was looking at that base defense, right? And I'm looking towards Azir, who potentially could pop off, right? Like, there's a world in which a Vladimir comes in with good flank, and then you still get the fight. But yeah, it did felt in the end when you did look back at it, and like you look at the history books, and it is just one hiccup. The early game was just all over to Chiefs, and that was essentially it, right?
And that, it's like that last fight you talk about, right? It is really like the disconnection of AV. Like a hook is landing, it's just like throwing them out for free. It costs Ayla absolutely nothing. And then the idea was there, they had to make a last stand. Chippies sees Claire and he's like, I can kill someone, let's do it, let's make it happen. But whilst he's taking down the Irelia, another hook lands after somebody on the side. And yeah, unfortunately, that was all she wrote. AV, second loss of the season there.
Yep, solid game over to the Chiefs. For now, we're going to send it over to Nick Boy.
Thank you very much. As Bryce mentioned at the desk, pretty dominant win for the Chiefs there. They looked a little shaky with the fight around Dragon, but it did seem like every time AV were anywhere, there were 3 Chiefs players just waiting for them.
Yeah, I mean, this game should have ended at 20 minutes. Like, the lead was just really large from the Chiefs. The way they played the game after some really shaky stuff that AV did well level 1. They got a kill, they blew summoners, Talia started W. Like, that's a really hard time to be the Talia, but the dive doesn't work down bottom. And suddenly from that point, because the dive wasn't successful, they were able to split the map in half and play really good League of Legends Chiefs back on their terms. And that's exactly how the Chiefs want to play. You know, if they're controlling the tempo, they're comfortable, Chiefs never lose those.
Yeah, but I think just strategically, like, I got some big questions about this game because, like, you take Zyra Rakan, you obviously are, like, baiting a pinch of support because you've taken away a couple of support picks yourself, but you left Tahm Kench open, and, you know, historically, something like Tahm Kench Varus has been able to deal with that lane. We saw it actually come out a lot from Bombers when Order were playing it last split when no one else really was. So I think that there was a pinch that they were trying to, like, funnel people into, and then Raze just shows his versatility, kind of negates a lot of that. Mages don't need to farm at the same rate as someone like an 80 carry and just has a different role in that comp. And you leave up Irelia Sejuani, which in the current meta, like outside of maybe Camille Sejuani, is like so incredibly strong. And you play a control mage into it, and that means you need to be able to protect the Azir. Like for me, in this game, Miru went bottom and tried to extend a lead. I think they should have been happy with that level 1. You need to be able to protect Sedge in the top side of the map. You got 2 scaling teamfight mages.
Exactly, yeah.
If you get even in that game at 15 minutes, Vladimir and Azir kill everyone. But it's just you can't do that if you're playing so heavily towards bottom lane, which is not what Avant normally does, which is why I'm so confused.
Yeah, it definitely feels like a style shift from AV in the way they focus. And it felt like for me, you know, they picked at a wound, it became a wound. They were like, let's just go hard at this until it completely wins us the game. And they forgot about the rest of the map, who definitely did suffer. Where the Chiefs, I will say, played well. AV definitely didn't put any attention towards it, and they were made to pay hard.
And what I've learned about the Chiefs at the moment is that, you know, we talk about the Chiefs as like this scaling team fighting team, but they're becoming much more proficient in the early game.
Yeah.
I think their coordination this game was really good. They got caught out by the AV flip, which was a really good proactive play, but then they're already rotating towards that straight away. They know that Herald is the next on the card. They know they can defend at 4v5 and that they have tools to be able to navigate this with Rakan ulti down, with the inability of Azir to be able to join because of the good priority over mid lane displayed by the Aurelia. So I just think there was like little things from that game that actually, if you're a Chiefs fan, you look at that and you go, that's a bloody terrific win, because they didn't play necessarily towards Chiefs style. They played a lot quicker, a lot more early game, and like it looked really, really good.
Well, it's good news for the Chiefs. It's great news for those of us who love League of Legends because the top 3 is certainly shaking up. And it's excellent news for all of us because we're back right after this break.
Is going to be started. Aladoric.
Collapse coming in from Chiefs. In fact, the whole gang's here. Aladoric going back towards Gunkrab. He pops the stopwatch. In comes Chippy's and shock over the wall, away from the play. But here he comes. They blow up the AD carry. Chiefs on a bit of a rampage here. Jump over the wall. Raze finds the second. Chippy's backing away. Infernal Chains finds one. Shock duking into the pit. Herald getting involved in the action. Only low. Miru trading blows. It's a very messy fight here, Ejim. Chippy's still taking so much damage from the Herald. He loses his jungler. And now he's in his...
For me, this year was meant to be like me being like my own player. On Direwolves, I was very much the supportive player. This year, I wanted to be very much the front man. I wanted to win a championship, like an OPL championship. After like last split, I was very much getting adjusted to this new role on the team. I didn't really have this same role in Direwolves or Legacy back then. Like now I feel like I have to do a lot more as a player. It's tough, but I feel like this year's been the next like step in my evolution as a player.
How about 4-9?